Imagine waking up in the middle of the night to the feeling of not being able to breathe. After a few attempts to refill your lungs, panic starts to seep in. You get out of bed, stumble onto the floor, only now realizing how dizzy and thrown off you are. You stumble into the bathroom, flip on the lights, notice your reflection in the mirror, and it shocks you to see that your lips and face are tinted blue. You reach your hand up to touch your face and notice that your fingertips are starting to turn the same color as well. Now fully awake and realizing something's wrong, you try to scream for your parents. Can't get enough air into your lungs and it just sounds raspy and desperate. Bring yourself into their room, dragging tears streaming down your face, and you can't even call their names or anything. You weakly shake them with the last bit of oxygen you have in your body, forcing your body to move. And once they wake up, you try to explain what's wrong before you pass out. That's an asthma attack. Okay, it's an asthma attack. Jeez. All right, as serious as they are, they can be pretty much avoided. It's a common illness. About 1 in every 15 students under the age of 18 have it. And as devastating, as deadly as it is, it can pretty much be avoided if you are knowledgeable about it and you're well aware of how it affects you as an individual or maybe somebody close to you. Asthma attacks can be completely avoided and you can pretty much go on living a normal life without really ever being bothered by it. Through my own personal experience and some additional research at the Center for Disease Control website and the National Heart, Blood, and Lung Institute, I've compiled a list of easy ways to prevent asthma for every individual and for how to handle and treat an asthma attack should the need ever arise for you or for somebody nearby you. First off, asthma prevention. The important thing is to know your triggers. What triggers are is they're little things that can set it off. It's different for every single person. It might be one thing, it might be 6. It could be something as little, like I have 3. Mine would be chemical fumes having to do with like maybe certain paints or chemicals from aerosol cans or something like that. Another one would be respiratory infections. For me, getting a common cold could set me off and put me in bed for a week, making me feel like I'm going to die, just because of that added effect from the asthma. So for both of those, just keep clean, stay away from chemical fumes. Another common one is exercise, or doing any sort of physical activity, or even just mostly breathing through your esophagus too much at a time. That could set it off and start to close up your throat. So just make sure if you or someone who has it is just aware of what they're doing and knowing their limits. Other symptoms or triggers that I don't have but are pretty common include scented items, maybe like incense, perfume, cologne, things like that. It's really just little things that you can breathe in and mess with your lungs. Another one is cold air. So if that's a trigger, when it's cold outside, wear a scarf or a hood or something to warm the air before it gets into your lungs. Dust and dust mites, just make sure the house is clean. As small as they are, you could breathe them in and you wouldn't even know it. Pollen, just know what season it is and be wary of your environment. Secondhand smoke, you'd be surprised how many people just simply don't care. It's my whole mom's half of the family who never paid any mind. Luckily, it wasn't a trigger for me. Pet dander, again, little things falling off your pets, so keep clean around the house. Roaches and mold, hope that you wouldn't have those to begin with, but if you do, even those can be triggers that can cause somebody to have an asthma attack. Now, in the event that one of these triggers can't be avoided and somebody does have an asthma attack, the most immediate and common action is to use a albuterol inhaler. Now, this basically is like a shot of steroids, and it opens up and loosens the muscles in your lungs, which is what asthma does, constricts that. Now, with this, for the person who has asthma, what they have to do is squeeze down on the top of it, and it'll shoot out a puff of the inhalant. You have to breathe in at the exact moment that you press it, or else it's pretty much just going to squirt onto the back of your mouth. So if you're trying to help somebody who's having an asthma attack, tell them to time it right, to breathe it in at that moment. This usually winds up being what saves people's lives. So it'll wind up being something like this. You just you'll hold it in for 5 seconds or so, take another puff if needed, if that's not enough, or if the attack is more serious than that, which it very well can be. Next step that the doctors normally suggest is the use of a nebulizer. Now, this is mostly the same thing, although it's more maintenance. What you do, it's a machine that it'll just, instead of one puff, it has you breathe in the same type of medicine, but over a longer period of time, 20 minutes or so. And this is pretty much what they'll do for you at the hospital as well, but this is just an at-home version. I'm not, well, I guess I can just gonna plug it in. It's virtually going to be the same thing as this, but they have them in little tinier containers. You will pop it open, empty the medicine inside here, close it tight, got a bit for a mouthpiece, flip it on. The machine changes the liquid inside and turns it into sort of something that's you could breathe in. Makes it easy. All you have to do is pretty much just lay there and breathe normally while the medicine does its job. I usually have to do that if I get a bad enough cold, because that won't help and I won't be able to breathe at all, really. Now, in the event that this isn't enough, which very well might not be enough, you're going to want to take the person or yourself to the emergency room. They pretty much do the exact same thing, but what they can also do is give you other sorts of steroids by mouth, an IV, because you won't be getting enough oxygen into your system the normal way. So that's pretty much what they'll do. Now, in conclusion, 1 out of every 15 people, like I said, has asthma under the age of 18. With this so common, it's important to be knowledgeable of it, because even if you don't have it, it's a very good chance that someone you know has it. And if they do have an attack or something of the sort, it's good to be knowledgeable of their condition just so you can help them if they are unable to. Because quite often they might just pass out and you wouldn't even know what's going on. You would figure that having asthma would cripple a person's life, but if you know about the condition and you handle it correctly, you avoid your triggers, and you handle your attacks as they come and go, you can pretty much do whatever you want, just like anybody else. You can compete in any sort of sports. You could compete in the Olympics. There's plenty of people with asthma in both of those. And same thing with physically costing jobs. You could be a firefighter. You could be pretty much anything you want, as long as you are knowledgeable and know how to handle asthma.